Hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle here. I want to make a video talking about the E3 press conference 2012 this year. The E3 press conference is still going on. It's going to be continuing to go on, I think, for like the next few days actually. But anyone who loves video games and knows about video games knows that the E3 is a video game convention where, well, pretty much all the big major companies like game companies and studios and developers, reveal the next hottest games that are coming out the following year, the same stuff year that the E3 conference is being held, and what to look forward to in games coming out the following year, the summer, and so on and so forth. Now, with a lot of people, I've kind of been around, and a lot of people say that they think that this year's E3 sucked. And I just kind of disagree with that a little bit. I think one of the reasons why a lot of people say that this year's E3 sucked is because I think a lot of people expectations for the Microsoft and Sony and even Nintendo to some extent press conference to be just mind blowing. I mean, just bam, like come out the box with all the stops, and that necessarily really didn't happen. Now with the Nintendo press conference, they did get to show the more detailed information on their next system, the Wii U, out November this year, which was pretty interesting, and it looks like a nice system. But I'm still kind of leery about the Wii U. I know it's going to sell like hotcakes anyway, but I found that interesting. The Microsoft and Sony press conference, I will say, was a little bit of a letdown, but I didn't gripe about it like a lot of other people did. Some of the games that Microsoft presented solely, I particularly didn't care for. Probably about like two games out of the games that they unveiled that I'm like, bam, gotta get. However, though, they did, speak on a lot of updated new features and apps that they're going to be planning to expand this year, going into next for the Xbox Live community, which I thought was pretty great. So besides that, I think a lot of people's expectations for the big three game companies, I think they expect it to just be mind-boggling, just blown out of proportion. Like, I don't know what people expect. I mean, I think they probably expected maybe Microsoft and Sony to unveil or give some new details about the next-gen systems. That's not going to happen until next year's E3, because the next systems we won't get until like 2014. So maybe that's it. But for me, per se, I could see how some people may say that this year's E3 may be a bit lacking, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that it sucks. And maybe because with me per se, I play various types of video games. I play RPGs, fighting. I play some sports. Probably the only sports I wouldn't play is like soccer or something. But I will play, sports games, fighting games, race car games. But with that, that's kind of picky too. But I still play, a race car game. So I play various styles, RPG, open world, shoot 'em, action, whatever. I play various styles of video games. So for me, I'm not very picky. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm going to just pick a random game off the shelf, but I'm just saying the different types of genres of video games that I do play. I'm not really limited towards certain genres and styles of games. So so a lot of the games that were presented this year at the E3 conference, I like to play, which I mean a short list of some of the games that are coming out this year. I like to talk about that I'm interested in buying and purchasing, and looking forward to coming out next year. So for me, I don't think this year's E3 was too bad. I won't go as far as to say that it sucked. So these are just some of the games that grabbed my attention that I'm excited for at this year's E3 press conference. So this year's E3, one of the first games I got to go for is Need for Speed Most Wanted. Need for Speed is a series of race car games, if anyone should know about it. For me, my favorite of the Need for Speed series was Most Wanted and Need for Speed Underground 3. Now, besides the race car games, my most favorite is the Midnight Club series. That's like freaking dope. I forgot the studio that's doing Most Wanted, but it's the same studio that's doing Need for Speed Hot Pursuit that came out last year, the year before. So it's not a remake per se, but they're taking what people love from the Most Wanted video game back in 2006 or 7 when it came out, and just kind of add their own twist to it. So it's a new Need for Speed Most Wanted, but made with a new team, a new studio. So that looks very interesting. Um, Another game I'm also interested in getting is the new Spider-Man game. The Spider-Man game made by Beenox Studios. The last 2 or 3 Spider-Man games they made, Shattered Dimensions, and the sequel to that, Web of Shadows, something like that, had gotten pretty well received reviews. So for Beenox to make this new Spider-Man game, which is going to be, it's not based off the movie. The story arc of the video game is going to be made after the story of the Spider-Man movie coming July 3rd. So because the game is not really based on the movie, but like stories after the movie, it just gives the developers so much more room and creativity to move around in. So with that in particular, so because the game's not going to be based off the movie, most games that are based off movies kind of suck. But because this one's not going to be, like I said, loosely based on the exact same movie, it's just, I think it's just going to be better. And then with Beenox Studios, studio behind, like I said, their last 2 to 3 Spider-Man games they made have gotten some really good positive reviews. So for them to be behind the seat of this game here, it's going to be awesome. The Spider-Man game comes up June 27th. I'm interested in it. Another game that also looks very, very promising is the new Tomb Raider video game. The new Tomb Raider, and I think her name is Lara Croft, if I remember correctly. But completely new redesigned look. Looks fantastic. Looks like the new Tomb Raider video game looks like the Uncharted series, like an alternative Uncharted series, but for a female role. Even though we know Tomb Raider goes back all the way back to the PS1 days back in the 1990s, but just still, it looks like Uncharted a little bit. The graphics just looks absolutely beautiful. Tomb Raider, I think, comes out, next year. I think it's supposed to come out this year, but I think they pushed it back to next year. I could be wrong about that. But the game looks awesome. I'm definitely excited for it. So I'm looking forward to that. Another game is Sleeping Dogs. I think I explained this before. Sleeping Dogs was made by Activision, the creators of the True Crime series video game. They were going to make the third installment called True Crime Hong Kong. Activision had pretty much just no faith in the game, and they ended up canceling it. The game was finished. It was done. They just canceled it and put it up on the shelves. And True Crime Hong Kong was supposed to come out in 2010, but Activision just canceled it because they just had no faith in the game being prosperous. Square Enix Studios, which is the game company that makes the Final Fantasy game series, they wanted to expand their fan base. Instead of having a hardcore fan base that just plays, Final Fantasy and other kind of games that are similar to that RPG Final Fantasy world-like style, they bought the rights to the True Crime Hong Kong video game. Now, not the True Crime series, but just that game in particular, True Crime Hong Kong. So they took the rights over to of True Crime Hong Kong and had to rename the game Sleeping Dogs. So the game is already finished. It was already prepared and done. They just renamed it True Crime. I mean, not True Crime, but Sleeping Dogs. This game I've been looking forward to. Looks really nice. You start as a detective in Hong Kong, China. You get to pretty much, bust up crime and it looks like you might be able to do some underhanded things too, as well. It's a really open world. You can do hand-to-hand combat, and you gain, I think, like skills and experience points to where you could add to your fighting style, make your fighting style better, as well as your gun combat systems. So Sleeping Dogs looks really good. It comes out August 14th. Another game is Assassin's Creed 3. Assassin's Creed 3 is another game. Really excited for. I think that comes out in September. This game looks freaking awesome as well. I think this is supposed to be the final and last installment to the Assassin's Creed series. This is definitely a good looking game as well. So look out for it too. DMC, Devil May Cry, which is the reboot made by Ninja Theory. Capcom still owns rights to it, but Ninja Theory are making a reboot of the game and making pretty much their version. Basically, the new Devil May Cry reboot video games is kind of like an American adapted version of the series. So instead of saying, this is Devil May Cry, but this is how Devil May Cry will look if, an American game studio company had the ideas of making Devil May Cry. This is what it'll look like from an American standpoint, developer standpoint. I have my mixed reviews about this, but I'm still going to give the game a try. It looks awesome. It was due out this year, but they pushed it back to a January or February release. So DMC Devil May Cry looks great as well. Another one is Transformers Fall of Cybertron. Transformers Fall of Cybertron is the sequel to Transformers, I think it's called Transformers Cybertron or Rise of Cybertron, which came out last year or the year before. If you guys are leery about Transformers games, I'm telling you right now, Transformers Cybertron is the best Transformers game ever. It's made by High Moon Studios, and you're talking about a guy who's played every single Transformers game, from the Transformers games that are based off the movies, going all the way back to Beast Wars back in the PS1 era. I played every single Transformers game. They all sucked, except Transformers Cybertron, made by High Moon Studios. Very good Transformers game. The story arc, the combat, transformation, great Transformers game. Can't go wrong if you're a fan of Transformers. You want to play Transformers game, can't go wrong with that. And the sequel to it, The Fall of Cybertron, which the game comes out, it was supposed to come out in December, but it looks like I think they said they may push it up to an August release as well. So Transformers: The Fall of Cybertron looks like another a fantastic game. Definitely a game I'm looking forward to. The sequel, since the first one was really good, looking forward to this one as well. So that'll be another game I'll look to check out. Another game is Hitman Absolution, which comes out November 20th. A lot of people are kind of picky when it comes to the assassin type of like games. A lot of people are like Splinter Cell the best. A lot of people like Metal Gear Solid, which has a larger fan base. Once again, understandable because that game goes back since the PS1 era in 1998 or 7. And then you have those that just like Hitman. Me per se, I like Hitman, Metal Gear Solid, and Splinter Cell. I like all three. But out of those three, my favorite assassination type of game would be Hitman. Hitman Absolution looks great. I've waited a long time since the last Hitman game came out in 2003, Hitman 3. So it's been about 5-6 years since the last Hitman game came out. So I'm really stoked for this. It looks awesome. Graphics look great. The assassinations and some of the kind of like inside jokes that they have in the game. That's based like pop culture stuff like religion and stuff is pretty hysterical. So Hitman looks like another great game as well. Hitman Absolution comes out November 20th, and then one other game that looks just freaking amazing. This was probably, if everyone that said that E3 sucked this year, this is probably the only game that got everyone excited, out of E3, and that's the game from Ubisoft, the same creators who made the Assassin's Creed series, as well as other hit-making games. They revealed a new game coming out, quarter of 2013, called Watch Dog. And don't get this confused with the title Sleeping Dog. This one's called Watch Dog. This game looks freaking amazing. The graphics look, so crystal clear, high definition. It looks like it would push your system to the max. Visually, it's that good. The game is about the not-so-too near-dear future of the city of Chicago and how the technology in Chicago is kind of like pretty much taken over, or pretty much technology in that future, in that timeline, has just pretty much taken over pretty much the entire world, almost as if you play this hacker, this really smart hacker, gunsman kind of like guy, who it seems like he may be a detective. Not a lot of information is known about this game. That's why it was unveiled for the first time. Not a lot much is known, but you play as this type of like hacker kind of like guy who hacks into different various computers, whether it's like the street lights and everything else. The gunplay looks sick. It looks a lot like the Max Payne 3 type of like gunplay, where you have a little dot to aim. You can go in slow motion and shoot, which is fine. Yes, this game looks freaking awesome. It's an open world. video game. It's an open world, so it looks like a Grand Theft Auto type of like flair in terms of being an open world. I don't know if you can drive in cars or not, but this game looks freaking amazing. Looks awesome. If you don't know, click on YouTube for the thing. Watch Dogs. As a matter of fact, I have a trailer, the preview of the game on my favorites list. On the top of my favorites list, I just added this morning. If you want to check that out. Watch Dogs looks very promising. It comes out in the quarter year of 2013. Like I said, this game just looks just freaking amazing. And I like the fact that the theme of the city that they have is Chicago, because most open world video games, most cities that they choose for an open world video games are always New York, LA, and periodically sometimes maybe a Las Vegas or some type of, exotic paradise island. But to have a game where the main city is Chicago in a not too near distant future, I think it's pretty cool. And I'm not saying it because I'm from Chicago, but I just think it's a nice pace for a change to have a different mainstay city in a video game besides New York, LA, and some other random, island or, something, tropical paradise island. So I think that's pretty cool. And I mean, you look at the game, the way it plays and the action and stuff, it looks like a freaking movie or something, So check that out on my favorites list. Watch Dogs, the preview is on my favorites list. Let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know what you think about the other games as well. I pointed out on this list, at least I'm interested in. What are your games that you guys are interested in coming out this year or next? What do you think about the E3 press conference? You can go to Clever Games or IGN on your YouTube page to check them out. Or if you have an Xbox, download the IGN Entertainment app on your Xbox Live and check out all the updates and stuff from the E3 conference and different games, stuff like that. So yeah, give me your thoughts and comments in the box below. Subscribe. Hope you guys like the vid. Sorry if it's too long. Peace.